So, to start my testimony, I feel like when you share your testimony, you have to share about your past to see where God brought you from. So, I was born a baby. I really was born a baby. When I was younger, I have some patches in my memory that I can't remember, just like blocks of things I don't know. I went into foster care when I was young. My dad, biological dad, left my mom and I, and so she went down a path of prostitution and drug usage, and I went into foster care. So I vividly remember being taken away from my mom, just like the screaming and crying and not understanding. From there, I went to 2 foster care homes. The first one, I thought that the reason they got rid of me was because I accidentally pooped in the bathtub, but now my logical side knows that that's probably not true. But for some reason, I went to a new foster care home when I was younger, and they loved me and I loved them. And now that I'm an adult, I've gotten in contact with them because I had this yearning to know and remember who they were. And I actually found out they really wanted to adopt me, but my mom cleaned her life up and was able to get me back. So in that process, she gets me back, and she had met a man in jail and they were in love. And so they got married, and then they had my 2 younger brothers. And we had a really great family. I thought that, life was good. It was a little odd because I felt like my stepdad, he never adopted me, but I felt like he liked, his sons better than myself. But, that might have been some of that weird attachment identity issues. So after that, my mom, she had a broken childhood as well. Some of this is generational. And she found her mom somehow, I don't remember, but my grandma, and she ended up moving in with us. And when she moved in with us, she found out she had lung cancer, and then that quickly, her life, she died. So that sent my mom into a relapse, and she got back into drugs, which then caused her husband into a spiral as well, and he was an alcoholic. So that left us a very dysfunctional family. There's a lot of domestic violence that happened in our house. My stepdad, I remember once he was choking my mom in the closet, and so I had to scoot my brothers, they were toddlers at the time, scoot them into the back room so they weren't scared, and then I called 911 because I thought he was going to kill her. During all of this, though, my mom got special assistance to send me to a private Christian school, and so I got to go there, and I loved school. I was a straight A student, and no one hurt me at school. I got to eat at school. School is very important to me. So during this period, somebody obviously called CPS on us. I think it was our neighbor. I used to walk my brothers to next door so I could walk myself to school because my mom would be gone for days, and my stepdad would be in and out, and it was just really bad. So fast forward that, I went into a foster care home. There, it was with a family, but I was sexually abused there, so I moved to another foster care home. And at that time, my brothers and I were still together, and it was with my aunt, and everything was fine. I thought we were going to get to go back with my mom. There was all these empty promises of, when I get out of jail, when I'm going to go to this, halfway house or whatnot, I'm going to get you guys back. And it just never happened. So my aunt, we became too much for my aunt, my brothers and I, so she thought it was best to send us on. So the state thought that it was best that we be separated so I could grow up and not be a parent to my younger brothers. So I guess I should back up a little bit. During the time, my mom, when she would be gone for days and just be we really struggled with money because, all of it went to substances. And so we would, on trash days, we'd go get our clothes out of trash cans, and we didn't always know what we were going to eat. We were just really strapped for money. Now I know why. But during this time, my mom would take us to this Assembly of God church. And so I remember going to a VBS there, and I just really loved it. We ate the pudding with the worms on top, and I just thought, I love these people, are so happy and they're wonderful. And so I would listen during church and realize that's something that I wanted. So sometime along that line, I don't have a specific like age or date, but I accepted Christ. And now this church was very charismatic, so people would like fall on the floor and they put blankets on them, and they would dance with like ribbons and all kinds of things that now when I look back, I'm like, okay. But I remember like faking and trying to be like that because I really was attracted to this body of people, of friendly, and I'm sure that maybe they assisted us with food and stuff, but I just remember I wanted that. So someone at the church gave me this Jamaican CD. And so I had one CD, and when things were stressful in our house, I would go to my room and shut the door, and I would listen, like just crank this Jamaican Christian CD up. I wish I knew now what it was, but that was my saving grace. And I know that as I continue my story, God was just always with me. So, and fast forwarding back to my aunt's house, the state thought it was best that we be separated so I could grow up and finally be, I was a 12-year-old girl, finally be a kid and not have to parent, essentially. And so I went to a foster family separately, and my brothers went with their grandparents that I was in no blood relation to because it was their dad. We have different dads. So this whole time I didn't know where my biological dad was. I remember looking in like phone books, and I'd look at for our last name and hope that I could find him to find, a sense of normalcy. And so my mom's rights got terminated. I guess they put like a thing out in the paper for my dad. And so since there was nobody ever answered it, then his rights were automatically terminated as well. When I was separated from my brothers at the age of 12, that was probably one of the number one hardest things I've ever gone through. It was like someone took my children from me, and I just remember I'd cry every night, and I had like this one stuffed animal that I would just like, it was like soaking wet. I would just cry and cry and cry, and I just wanted to be with my brothers, and I obviously very much disagreed with the state's decision to take me away from them, but they knew what was best, right? So I still was in connection with my brothers. I got to see them quite a bit, but I, grew up in a separate town. We lived an hour away. So I then went to, a small town high school, and that's where I met my husband, Pastor Mike. And so, when you look back on your story and you wonder like all the whys, had I never been separated from them, which my heart did not want, I would have never met my husband. So I would trade that again. But after that, I just had a normal high school experience. I loved Jesus, and I think he was my one saving grace through all of the ups and downs of everything, through all of the just rejection. I mean, I have trust issues probably to the core, as probably many of you do as well, but I don't trust easily, and I don't attach well because I'm always afraid, someone's gonna leave me or hurt me, so I just kind of leave a wall up. But the thing about Jesus is he breaks that down, and through all the things that I have, endured in my childhood, essentially that was been the worst part, is God was always my constant. It's crazy, this thing called faith, how you can go through, many hard things and you can see God's hand in all of it. And I wouldn't trade any of it because it's made me the person that I am today. And, I can have empathy and I can relate with other people. And since we've adopted 2 of our kiddos and being able to walk through life with them having similar feelings that I had growing up has been really healing, and learned a lot about myself and annoying things about myself that I'm sure when I look back, I was like, were you like that as a kid? Did you do that? But I'm thankful for everything that God has brought us through since we, my husband and I both come from broken homes, and we didn't have like a dry eye in the room when we got married. God was really redemptive in our marriage, and he's one that I am so incredibly thankful for, and basically saved me too from a path of who knows what. Since then we've had a gaggle of children that we love, and that's been fun, but it's been great to share God with them and just the life that him and I were given and how it's shaped the people that we are today. I wish that everyone could know Jesus and know just like the peace and the freedom that comes with salvation. That is the most amazing feeling